You're on. I'm gonna just go. Let's not waste some time, okay? Um, so thank you for joining me. I started my career as a stager. I was in accounting. I worked at night as a stager, and then I evolved into a realtor. And my first time on a team was with the top producer. She made 200 units. She closed 200 units. So as I was with her, I didn't realize when it meant when you do an open house, you get a lead, right? What is a lead? A lead is someone that's a possible potential for a seller or a buyer. But I wasn't really trained very well. I would just greet them, take their information, greet them, take their information. I didn't know how to practice scripts. I didn't do rebuttals. I didn't know anything. So I failed really miserably. I didn't make a lot of money the first year and I had a lot of bills. Um, and through that struggle, I learned how to nurture my database. And how big would you say your database is? How big, Ray? So nurturing your database means when you get a lead, how did you meet that lead? Um, what was the conversation? And then we have to categorize our leads. So following up with leads means, do we have an A buyer? That means an A buyer is ready to go now, 1 to 3 months. A B buyer is 3 to 6 months down the road, and a C buyer is either going to be a year from now, based off of having to do save some money, credit repair, uh, taking care of something in the background. So in this overview, lead follow up. Every lead that we touch should have a purpose. We should know how we met that lead. We should know where it came from. I'm not sure of how many of you are using Command, but Command is so important. We have our own systems within Keller Williams that we can put our database in Command, have a touch system to help our lead get notices, get emails, and put them on a task, a task plan where then it automatically generates a lead. But you should know where that lead from. You should keep every lead. You should follow up with leads and strengthen the relationships. And what does that mean? If you did 95127 Piedmont Road, you're going to keep that lead. Then you're going to follow up with that lead, after they leave for the next week. If you don't know what they've done, are they been pre-approved? Are they just window shopping? That type of stuff. Because during COVID, that was a different time frame. And we also have to ask the screening questions, qualifying potential buyers and sellers. This is really big here. This is lead follow-up. So how to convert a lead. We convert a lead by appointment. So we learn to lead convert by, we meet a client at an event. It may be a sphere of influence. We find out their motivation and where they are in life. Are they a first-time home buyers? Do they need to save for a down payment? Are they an empty nester? So every lead you have to know your audience. That's really key because not everybody's the same audience. Learning lead conversion, how to convert that into an appointment. So if you met somebody at an open house and they didn't want to buy the house that you were showing, but yet they were interested in buying a house, you could have the conversation. Have you been pre-approved? How long have you been looking? And one of the key questions, are you working with the realtor? If they're working with the realtor, then they're off limits, but you can always just check in later on. Hey, this house went pending. This was the price point. And when you walk into an open house, we want to capture that lead. Don't let just people walk in without asking them, hey, could you please sign in? Some people will be very against it, and that's okay. But if the seller's saying, hey, Tabitha, I'd want you to get every lead, I'm going to ask them. Based off of the seller, they'd like you to sign in. So we'd like to know who walked the property. We are out of the COVID scare, but having an implementation to get them to sign in is really big. So once you get a lead, you want to put in the database. Now, how do I convert that lead to an appointment? Find out their motivation. Do some screening questions. How long have you been looking? Have you been pre-approved? What's your price point? Is this a neighborhood you'd like to move into? And you try to get an appointment. If they don't have an agent, hey, I'd love to sit with you and let's go over a buyer's presentation. If it's a listing or a seller, what could my home be worth? Get an appointment. By making calls every day, you can improve your conversion rate with these lead gen opportunities. So that means if I'm going to call 20 people today, I'm going to try to at least get one appointment. If I get one appointment, how fast can I convert that? My conversion rate. That means I might be able to, out of the 20 calls, can I get one appointment? If I get better at practicing my scripts, can I improve my appointment settings? So once you start measuring is really key with your lead database. Lead conversion. Learn to lead conversion. So I would encourage anyone to practice scripts, practice rebuttals. A lot of people come in with questions and you don't know the answer. And that's where we fail often. As a new agent or an agent that's not very familiar with the market, it's important that we know the daily interest rates. It's important that we know our market that we're farming or the house that we're hosting. It's important that we know the news. I'm not a stockbroker, but I know what's happening with the stocks because I'm going to have savvy clients. So learn to lead conversion based off that client. That means what are their needs, and be you. Sorry, guys. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them. Excuse me. So this is important. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to getting them. I'm very passionate about real estate, and this isn't about me, but I want to share. Hold on, guys. I'm choking over here. Okay, here we go. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give into generating them. So you have to be passionate, you have to be authentic, and you have to have action. You can go to an open house, be passionate while all the activity is going on, but you also have to be passionate after with the action. That means call them, send them an email, send a thank you, flyer drop, email drop, whatever it may be to generate that lead that you just met. How are you going to convert them? And there may have been 40 people and you may have touched 2 people that liked you. If you're a really good agent, you're going to convert a lot more people, but that takes time, effort, and skill. So your effort to converting must match your passion to the action. So that means, how are you touching them after? That's what we miss. We'll do an open house, but we won't call them back. That's a lead waiting for someone to talk to them. So nurturing your database is huge. It's not just that day. You have to create an A bracket, B bracket, a C bracket. Who's ready to go now? Who needs some time? Who's going to be down the pipeline? These are really key fundamentals. And if you don't have that down, excuse me, you're going to be calling people that don't need you, that you become a nuisance. And that's really what happens to us. And that's why we get discouraged. The lead conversion process, consistently getting every possible appointment from the lead you generate, isn't complicated, but it does require preparation, practice, and purposeful action. So once you capture that lead, you connect with them, you cultivate it, and then you close. And once you've been doing this long enough, it becomes very fluid. If I meet you at an open house, I'd like to find out about you. A lot of people come in and have agents, and that's okay. But I'll check in with them later. Hey, how did it go? Did you buy the house? Some people may be saying, Tabitha, I've been looking for 4 months and I haven't been able to buy. That's going to tell me 2 things. Either the agent isn't knowledgeable or the buyer is out of reality of what's really happening in the market. That's when you could say, hey, you know what? How long have you been looking? I'd love to have an appointment with you. Let's talk about the market. Have you ever had that? And once you show value to your database, it changes you. Your database changes. So you want to capture, connect, Cultivate. That means, you know, what do they need? Do they need you to connect them with the right lender? Do you need to connect them with the right financial? Do they need a tax preparation? Every person has a different story, and you need to understand each person that you put in your database. Not everybody's the same. So when we talk about your database, and I know I keep repeating this, you have to know your audience. Some people may not even be qualified, and you have to be the reality. You may not be able to purchase. Some people may need to come on a loan, a lump people, and bring in the right parties to help them. But when you can touch your database and just do those check-ins, that's huge. So we have this particular area where it's possible, probable, and profitable. Possible business is someone that I might meet on the street, at the grocery store, and as realtors, we should always be talking real estate when we're nurturing our database. Carry your cards, carry your QR code. Talk real estate anywhere you go. If you're in the bank, you're at the grocery store, you're at a restaurant, get a lead. Tell people that you are an agent. Don't be a secret agent. Let people know, hey, I'm a realtor. I work with Keller Williams, Silicon City, or Santa Clara, or Cupertino. Wherever you are, let people know. If people always ask me, how's the housing market? You should know the answer to the housing market. You should know and have a quick response. Hey, market's good, or it's tough. It's still a good time to sell. People are still buying and selling. So it's really important that we have a good response. It doesn't have to be long, but hey, if you have any questions, give me a call. And I guarantee you, if you make an impact on that first impression, people will remember you. Hi, Raymond. I remember I talked with you. Hi, Adrian. I remember I talked with you. Hey, Tabitha. I get people calling me from Applebee's that I don't remember, but they remember me. So that's possible business. Probable business means someone that I'm going to screen. After I put them in my database, I know where they are. They're getting pre-approved or they're waiting for the down payment. That's probable business. Profitable business means I know I'm going to close. I know that I'm going to target that right person that's ready to sell, that's going to retire, that has to do the upgrade, empty nester. So you have to be very well trained. That's also including in your database, working closely with title, because you have to create a farm. A farm is someplace that you are consistently farming and knowing how many homes are in the market, how many days on the market, what's the inventory. You should know by the back of your hand. If it's just one farm, people have more than one farm. I like to keep it smaller for me, but my farm, I know how many homes are on the market. I know how long the house has been on the market. So you have to be that well knowledged. Any ahas? Is there any questions or anything that you guys might like to ask in regards to what I'm sharing?
So yeah, from my side, I met up some people in my open house last weekend. They were looking for a house in Tracy. Um, what happened is they were actually looking for schools, good schools. Should I send them the schools rates from Tracy just to give them more information about it? Uh, what do you think about that?
So important. Hi, Adrian. Um, the good thing is that you had the conversation and they trust you. So the good that you have to screen them. Are they ready to buy today? Because we can give them the link for the school ratings, but they have to do their own homework. You could send them a link. We have the school ratings, and that's going to be San Joaquin County. Tracy is going to be San Joaquin County. So you can Google San Joaquin County, and it gives school rankings. The rankings aren't really valid because of the COVID. We're barely building our scores up. But remember, you're a realtor. You can't do all the homework for them because you could be giving them wrong information. You could say, hey, this is the link for the school, for the areas, and they'll have by zip code, and it's a really small area for Tracy. Let them do their own homework. But absolutely, you could send them the link, and I'll send, after we're done, I'll send you the link to that, okay? We have it here for San Jose. You could look at any school, any demographics, and you could find out what are the best schools, what are the rankings, okay? So yes, you can do that. I also want to warn you too. If someone says, "Hey, what is the area like for your database?" If someone's coming in as your lead that you're nurturing, Adrian, be very careful. It says, if this is a good neighborhood, never answer that question. You're going to say, "I cannot give you my opinion because that would be considered a biased opinion." You can call the local police department. That's important because you could be sued by the seller or the buyer that you gave information about, hey, this isn't a good school, this isn't a good neighborhood. Give them the resources and let that buyer or seller do the homework on their own. Make sense?
Makes sense. Got it. So that way, we don't have to answer that question like, "Oh, okay, this is a nice neighborhood or they have a good schools." So
Yeah.
we just provide the link that they can actually make their own research.
Absolutely. And you could just tell them, hey, here's the link, but they can do it on their own. There's a thing also called, there's different things, sources, but you're going to be the source. You're not going to be the one to do the homework. It's up to them. Remember that, okay? But yeah, absolutely. You're going to have all the knowledge, but even though we know it may not be a good school, we can't say that. Even though we know, you just have to let them do their own homework, okay? And not because it's not a good neighborhood. Maybe just the houses they don't have a lot of money to upgrade. So let them do their own homework. But once this call's over, I could send over the links to you of those type of resources. That way you have them in your arsenal. So going forward, hey, you send them, hey, this is the website. You can check it out on your own. Okay.
Got it. Thank you, Tabitha. Thank you.
You're welcome. So right here, we got to this next area where it says how to convert a lead to an appointment. Adrian, did you get an appointment with them? Because it sounded like you had good conversation.
Yes, we got a good conversation. We talk about a lot of things, about houses. I show them a little bit on my portal, like, well, this is the prices for the house. And then they were looking, okay, so we're gonna think about Tracy. And now we have an appointment with our lender. There's a lender called uh Carl. Is the
Yeah,
name Carl?
Carl Chen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna help with the down payment assistance. So they were really interested about it. And they say thank you so much. So we're gonna have an appointment today at 5:30 p.m.
That is awesome. Congratulations. This is huge. This is big. So you gained their trust. You gave them information. You showed them your portal while you were at the open house, which means you opened your computer. You let them see the MLS and the inventory, and you gained their trust. Congratulations. That's what you do. Just be you. Don't try to be something that you're not when a lead comes in. I don't care if it's an open house, at the store, you're viewing a listing. You always want to be who you are, but come with contribution. Don't ask somebody, do you want to buy or sell? Because they're pretty much going to tell you no. I don't want someone calling me up saying, hey, do you want to sell your house? No, I'm going to hang up. So just come with contribution. Remember that. Um, so congratulations, man. I can't wait to see the conversion on that one. You hear? Keep doing that. Add that person to command in your database, and you're going to set him up on task, right? We know we got him meeting with Carl today. We know we're getting him approved. And then you're going to put those tasks in the command, and we can help you do that so you can know where they are, and everything's going to be all in one little database for you, okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Tabitha, I have
Yes.
a question.
Yes.
When you know a client who looking for a specific thing in that price range, how can you send them that specific property? Is it through command or MLS?
Through MLS. And if you'd like, our Santa Clara SCORE office, the Santa Clara Office Association, Santa Clara County Office Association that we're a part of, on First Street, they have classes for MLS, but I think it'd be really great. We do offer it in our class where we've had MLS, how to run a properties, but it's pretty easy. And if you need help, just let me know, and I don't mind sharing how you run a comparable. If somebody says, hey, I'm sorry, and I didn't catch your name.
This is Sarah. We met before.
Oh, hi. Yes. Hi. So if you have someone that wants a house at just say $900,000, that's their maximum. We're going to look at something in the 700s, right? Because we have to be able to compete up. So there's also a strategy when you have a lead. Okay, if their maximum is 900, 1.2, 1.5, we have to search lower so we can compete up. And then you find out their maximum, and where will they go? Because are they pre-approved? There's a lot of things to know. Are they pre-approved? These are screening questions for your lead database. How do we nurture them?
Yeah. So I have a client who have a house right now, but their kids start going to school in 1.5 years. This year, a neighbor come to the open house, and he looking for anywhere in my area with good school. So I'm thinking to send him some property in the price that he looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how to send that yet.
I can help you. You can always send me an email. We could do it on Zoom after this, and I could show you how to do that. So do you know Is this person committed to you? Do you know if this person is committed to working with you?
I don't, but I have a phone call after the open house. I say, if I saw something, can I send it on your way? He say, yes, please.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so then we'll help you create a list of homes, and then you're going to have the conversation based off your budget. You know, have you been approved for you? Do you know his loan amount?
I'm not asking about that yet because he say he may sell the current home right now to get a
Oh,
bigger house.
okay, so
To
he
get
wants
a
to do it.
bigger. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So then that's when we secure an appointment. So that means that's good. This is a good one. So
But
do you?
but like he say like I'm not in a hurry. I'm gonna looking in a couple of years.
That's okay. This is good information. What you're going to say is, you know, I know, Mr. Seller, you don't want to sell right now, so that's a good lead. This is a good lead. Doesn't mean, because we get these every day at our open houses. So that means I have someone that came in and viewed my open house. He's a neighbor or someone within the vicinity. He liked the property. He wants to know the value of his house because he'd like to upgrade. Maybe not today, maybe a couple years, but maybe if you showed him something that would entice him to buy a house now, that would be a great capturing of a lead. And sometimes we also have to know the data. This is really important. I want agents to also know when we're nurturing our database, we have to be knowledgeable. We have to know what's happening in the market. So you could say, you know, Mr. Seller, based off of the market that's happening right now would be the best time to sell to get top dollar. You know, we are seeing a not a we see the market stabilizing with the SV, with the bank, with the market, everything, the interest rates. It would be a good time if I could at least come in. I would encourage you after we talk. I'm going to encourage you to try to set an appointment. We'll send him some properties, and then you'd have to assess his property. You'd have to say, you know what is, I have to look at your property to tell you what the value would be to sell it, so you could upgrade. You know, what does it look like in the inside, exterior? There are a lot of steps. So, how long have you been a realtor?
Me?
Yes.
Just a couple of months.
Okay. Well, I think it's important that we could connect, and then we'll have a class on this because this is really important. But this is a really good lead for you. This is a really good nurture lead. So that meant you met
Yeah.
somebody. He was open to you showing him homes that so he could upgrade. But now we just got to give you that confidence and bring in someone as your support. So it
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to be me. What office are you in? Are you in my office or are you in Cupertino, Santa Clara? What office are you in?
Santa Clara.
Okay, yeah. So you have, if you're on a team, your team lead should come with you. If you don't have, your broker could help you. I believe it's Harvey could help you. But we can get you the information how to capture that lead and convert it possibly. But we'll put them in the data. So good job. That is, yeah, good job. I'm proud of
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
See, you were being authentic you and just, hey, you weren't, even though it's scary to ask him, hey, do you mind if I send you homes? And he was like, yeah, you know, because that's the scary part. Because if most people reject us, but let's not take it personal. Just say, hey, I'd love to show some homes. Is it okay? Good job. Good job. Okay.
Okay. Thank
You're gonna
you.
email me after, and I'll help you get that prepared. Okay, and just give you some scripts to talk with him. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I didn't share that. I failed miserably. I started in the beginning when I started real estate. So this isn't about me. I failed miserably in real estate because I was a new agent. I wasn't trained. I wasn't skilled. I had a database, but I didn't know what to do with it. Um, so not making any money. I think I made $24,000 my first year, and my credit cards were over. I failed miserably. I caused a lot of stress at home. So when I didn't have money, I was able to door knock, flyer drop, be at open houses. I learned how to nurture my database because I needed to make money, but I also care about people. And that makes the difference. There's people that just want you to sell versus people that want you to help. And when you have a client, they're going to be able to feel that. So I want you to be conscious of that. Um, you know, you just right now, what you just did. I wasn't worried about getting him, but do you mind if I share information? And they could feel that. When you're too pushy, and some people are pushy, depends, every client's different. That's not my method. Um, I really want to bring value. And how can I help you make that decision to get you over? And maybe I'll never be able to. Maybe somebody will never sell, but I'm going to make a great friend. Or maybe I'm going to send somebody that needs like a lawnmower or needs landscaping. They'll keep me in their head. Okay, conversion framework. If I were to need to contact you, what would that number be? If I found exactly what you're looking for. So these are scripts. This is exactly for you. If I were to, if I were to need to contact you, what number would that be that you have as an email? If I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I contact you? Would you prefer phone, email? Because we have to know how they like to be communicated. Not everybody wants a phone call. Some people prefer text. And if I found out that information that you're wanting, how would I get it to you? You know, I have great houses. I see that you came to my listing. It was at 1.3. So I'm going to keep it under the 1.3, but send in what's available, you know? So these are great screening questions because you need to know, how do I frame my conversation for that lead? Connection, best practices. Embedded your value proposition in the conversation. You know, what can I do for you? Hi, how long have you been looking for, homes? Have you been pre-approved? Again, these are all part of the screening questions because you need to know how to talk to that individual. Who's your audience? Not everybody's the same. We have different demographics, different needs. And some people just need help and they're afraid to say, hey, you know what, I'm not even qualified. So you need to know how your value proposition for that open house and practice scripts. Practice every day, 20 minutes every day. And you should find somebody you could do it over the phone. You could even call your aunt if you're nervous of practicing and no one wants to do it in the office. Call, do a real call. Hey, you know, I want to know, how did it go at the open house? I know that we had a great time talking, and I know this wasn't the right house for you, but have you thought about looking at another property? You know, if you can convert them there, try it on the phone call. But there's scripts for that, and you need to practice that. And then, so you need to role play and practice. Know the outcome you want from the conversation before you start. Use questions to lead the conversations. So I see that you like this property, but you wanted more recessed lights versus open beams. You know, remember what they say. You know, you want to know the person you spoke with. How can you bring value? And in that database, you should have their wants and needs. I know it's kind of hard, especially if you have a busy open house, if you have 20 plus guests, but someone should be doing the intake of the phone call. Someone should be adding that into that database and then nurture them. And then you're going to categorize A, B, and C. Somebody may just not need you, but they may have liked you and they go, hey, I'll keep your card. The six connection questions. Who are they? What do they want or need to do? What do they want or need to do it? Why do they need to do it? Do they need to buy to upgrade because they're having their first baby? They have a rental and the landlord is increasing their rent, so they're looking at buying now. Are they moving jobs? When do they want or need to do it? Time frame. Do we need to do it now, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? That way you can execute it. How do they plan to do it? Are they going to be cash, loan? Is there, you know, what's their plan? Are they in the Army? You know, are they in the armed services? So there are many ways that we need to understand our audience, who we're talking to. And mind you, this happens with practice. It doesn't happen overnight. I want everyone to know, just practice. You become better with every person you talk to, with every scenario that you're in. And if you don't know the answer, don't let them know you don't know the answer. You know what? I don't know that question, but I'll get you the answer. Call your broker, call your owner, call whoever you may need to call, you know, get the answer and then respond, but don't give them a wrong answer. Okay. You can't know or predict when they will come to you to a decision, but if you're reconnecting with them with systematic way, you'll have a great chance of being there when they do. That's when you'll be able to close for an appointment. So by cultivating means, how many times are you touching that client? Once you've had them in the database, you met at an open house, wherever you may have met that client. It could have been your dentist. You're going to cultivate. You may be sending stuff regarding the market. Find out what they'd like to be sent. And if they're okay with you having it in a database, do a monthly mailer. Do mailers to their home. Do a note card. Do marketing in that farm if it's from your farm. Farming means your location where you're going to be the specialist. Remember that, because that's what they're saying. If you're reconnecting with them in a systematic way, you'll have a great chance of being there when they're ready for you. If they remember you, you want to become omnipresent. Omnipresent means when you think of toothpaste, what are you thinking of? Colgate, Crest. You know, once they see your flyers enough, once they see your emails enough, Oh yeah, I remember Adrian's a realtor. Let me call him. So when you have those touches in your database, it really lets people connect with you. And you're not asking for business. You're just sharing information. Most of the time when we get stuff, we just throw it away or I just delete that email. But if you bring something and you know this person's over 60, empty nester. If this person's in their 30s and they have a baby and you have that in your notes in your database, that means they could be an upgrade. Hey, Sally, we bought your house 3 years ago. Hey, I think it's time for you to sell so you can upgrade. So you have to know your audience and you know how to engage them. And you also have to have them trust you. Trust is the number one factor. They can feel when they can trust you and that you're going to do your best on their behalf. When asking for the appointment, which format do you think is most effective? Text message, email, phone call, or in person? Me, I like phone calls. That's how I make my appointments. Sometimes this could be in text. It depends on how busy they are, but that's how you're going to find out what's the best way of communicating with you. Is it by text, email, phone, or in person? Usually when I make my appointments, it's on a phone call. It's not often that I get it. I can get them in person at the open house, but it's mostly by my follow-up phone call. I'll call them up and bring some value, understand where they are, and I'll hit something that triggers them to say, hey, Tabitha, I'd like to have more information. That would be fantastic. I think it would be a great idea if you come into the office and I could share more about it in depth, and I can usually convert them to come in and close. And that's where we're going to get you to. When you have a database, by nurturing it, cultivating it, you become a closer. But you have to know how to talk to the clients. Scripts and practice are so key. Being passionate and doing actions key. In the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will meet. And if they don't, they won't. And that's okay. You really don't care what their answer ultimately is because you're not getting people to do anything they don't want to do. You're just going to ask and respond until they agree that meeting you would make sense, or it doesn't. Either way, you both win. So remember that. You can ask for business. That means, hey, can I have an appointment? What can I send you? How can I help you? And sometimes we're never going to be able to help somebody. When I first started, I wanted to help everybody, and I thought everybody needed me. But not everybody wants to sell. I was farming in Santa Clara, and there was a lot of the people were over 70. And when I'm knocking at the door saying, and I'm a new realtor, when I'm knocking at the door, they said, well, what would you like to sell? This house just sold. The answer was, where would I go? The CVS is right here. The post office is right here. So we're going to understand that we're not going to get to sell every house. We're not going to help every buyer. We may not even be able to connect with that person, but your job is to do your best when you meet them, have a good presence, really good energy. Just be you. Be kind, be knowledgeable, and people can feel that. And when you come from contribution, it changes the way people look at you as a realtor. Okay? Any ahas so far? Anybody have anything to say or questions? That's okay. I talk all the time. Today's agenda, okay? Improve your conversion rate. So in your database, if you should have, and in fact, I need to stress this. If you are a new agent, an existing agent, you need to have 200 contacts in your database in command. It's something that we need as new onboards. And I do have a list that I'll share with everybody on the email. Everyone that's registered, I'll send it to you. It's a list of 100 different ways to get your sphere of influence, how you make connections in real estate, okay? So improving your conversion rate means once you start measuring, you should be calling people from your open house. If it's 20 calls, you should call 20 people that day. If it's 10 people, because you're unsure, you need to practice, but you need to know what your conversion rate is. When I first started as a realtor, I'd have to call 100 clients. I'd get one appointment. I had to call 100 clients, and I was afraid to talk on the phone. After those 100 calls, I gained confidence, I gained skill, and I learned how to talk to people. So I knew after 100, I'd get one. After 60, I could get 2. After 28, I can get 4. Now, if I do 3, it's 1, but now I'm 1 and 1. My audience that I connect with now are my spear, past referral, and new open houses. But I come with value, and it's taken me a long time to get here. And every one of you can get there. If you measure your conversion rate, measure how many calls you make, how many appointments did I get? That means, hey, I'm a new buyer, but I haven't got approved. Well, you know what? Fantastic. I have a buyer that could help you. Would you like me to set an appointment? And you facilitate that. If you're a seller, well, I don't want to know about that. I don't want to sell right now. I understand, but let me send you some market information, what we see. And if we know that the houses are selling pretty high, try to get that appointment so we can go over the whole process. He may say no, but it doesn't hurt to ask, right? So once you start measuring how many calls you make and you make an appointment, that's how you can measure. How many emails I can send and people are going to respond. You should know that, because in Command, you can see who opens up your emails. If you're sending mailers, I'm sending, and I hear this all the time, Tabitha, I'm sending 500 mailers and I'm not getting any response. Then maybe mailers are not the way for you. That means you're wasting money. That means if no one's responding to your flyers, maybe there's no value in what you're saying. You could be sending something for ADUs to a 60-year-old person that is not going to be buying an ADU. So remember, improve your conversion rate by measuring. You have to know your audience. Who am I sending to? How many calls is it going to take for me to make an appointment? And there's a person named John Tran. He's going to be speaking on the 23rd. I know him. He's a top producer here at KW Santa Clara. John, I saw him when he first started. We were at another company together. He would start at 8 o'clock in the morning, would not leave the office till 9 o'clock, 8 or 9 o'clock, until he got one appointment. This is a new agent. I'm afraid of talking on the phone. And mind you, I was already an agent. I would watch him on that phone. He would not leave until he made one appointment. Whether or not he knew the scripts, didn't know the scripts, he was consistent, passionate, and he knew his conversion rate. Look at him now. He's a top producer. Get on that phone, make those phone calls. I guarantee you, you do the 80-20 ratio. 20% is of the work, and that's where your business comes from. The 80%, you'll start seeing it. But if you don't pick up that phone and call, if you don't do marketing, if you're not touching your database, your business is dead. And Gary Keller is going to tell you that. He told us that at Family Reunion. He also said, if you're not touching your database, you're doing yourself a disservice. And this is going to rule out who's going to exist in our market in real estate. A lot of agents are leaving. So improve your conversion rate by time block. You should have a schedule. Every agent, every top producing agent has a schedule. I don't care what it is, but you have a time in the morning where you are checking the interest rates, reading, educating yourself, doing your cold calls, follow-up open house, getting the listing presentation, connecting with your lender, connecting with the past buyers. There's some time blocking. And if you don't know how to do that, ask your PC coach at Santa Clara or Cupertino. I'm at Silicon City. Ask us. We'll show you how to do a time block calendar. We have that available for you. Using systems to convert. We need to get on command. We need to put them in the database. We need to do task management for the conversion and improve your conversion rate. Okay, now connect your whole database. How are you going to connect your whole database? You can do blast emails for something in particular, the new interest rates or new programs that are going on, or there's always ways to connect with your database. And you prioritize your qualified leads. This number 4 here, even though I may have 200 people in my database right now, I know I have one person that's ready to buy today, and I have a seller that may be wanting to sell today. You're going to prioritize your leads. Then after you convert them, then you go back to your normal nurturing database. But when you have it set up on your task and command, it automatically does it for you, okay? The lead conversion model. Capture the appropriate information to get a hold of the lead. That means is an email, phone number, and verify their phone number. A lot of times they write phony numbers, but if you have Real Scout or you use some sort of software, it can actually validate their email. It'll tell you if it's correct or not. And you can say, hey, I'm sorry, maybe you wrote your email wrong, or because some people just write it so we don't bother them. But let them know, hey, just to sign in, you're not obligated to me. just we need you to sign in for the open house purposes. And then if they like you, you can ask them, hey, would it be okay if I send you some information? Okay. Connect to assess their needs and establish a relationship. Just be you. Be kind. How you doing? Hey, do you like this house? Yeah, that blue in that room. It's crazy. I would have never picked it, but they made it work, right? Just establish a relationship with them. Talk. Don't be so tense and stressed. Just be you, just like you're talking to a friend. What do you think of that house? Yeah, maybe not my choice, or there's wall heaters versus an AC, but that's a minor fix. Just talk with them. Okay. Don't crowd them and ask them all these things, because we put pressure and we could scare them away. As you cultivate the relationship, closing by asking them for an appointment. And if they say no, hey, I have an agent, that's okay. I have you in my database. I'll let you know what the house went pending for, but later on, you could always check back in, a couple months later or a week later. Hey, did you ever buy? Was I able to help you? Did I give you any information? So there's a lot of good scripts and just check-ins. It's being human and just checking in. Anybody have a question or anything I've said so far?
So,
Yes.
when you do open houses, what information do you give? Like, for example, for me, I did one time, I actually pulled up information about houses that are around active holding, and then you're showing them like there's some open houses that open, these houses there's not. So what I'm telling is, look, this is what I can do for you. After my open house, we can actually make this. I'm gonna show you this property that it's active, but it's not in an open house. Like, it's not an open house, so you have to have access with it. It says something.
Yeah, you're at your open house. You showed them the database. You showed them an active listing that didn't have an open house, and you said, "Hey, after I'm done with my open house, if you'd like, I'll show you that property." That's what you did, correct?
Yeah.
All right, good job. That showed value. That showed them that, hey, I care, but if you don't mind waiting till 4 o'clock after my open house, I don't mind opening the door for you. Were you able to do that?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's easy to do. So as long as,
I have the same situation. The couple come in and I go with like 2 agents. So the couple say, hey, I want to see this one. I could show you now because my another agent come into the open house. So to help me with the open house. So I show the couple 2 property, and then I show them. That's the last weekend. I mean 10 days ago. And then last weekend, which is yesterday, they go out to see it again with me.
Good. Okay. So what I'd like, go ahead.
Yes,
so
but I don't know how to ask them to work with me or set an appointment.
Let's talk after that. Let's talk. So what I would suggest for you, so they're showing you, they'd like you to show homes. Did you ask them, are you working with another agent? Did you ask them that question?
I asked them, they don't have agent yet.
Well, you know what? What I would say, I encourage you, what's their names?
What's your Amit.
Hi, Amit. My name is Tabitha. I thank you for, well, I don't have to do that because you say, hi, Amit. I'd love that you let me show you homes, but I'd really love to bring you into the office to do a buyer's consultation to know what's his loan limit, 1.5, 1.6, what's his loan, 1.2? What do you, what?
Yeah, I asked them all kind of questions like when, where, why, how, and then they tell me it.
Okay, what's their price point? What are they looking at?
1.6. They say maximum is 1.6.
Okay, well, you know what? You're gonna say, I'd love to encourage. I'm glad. Thank you for trusting me. I'm really good at what I do, and they don't know how good you are. You're gonna just show the confidence, and we're gonna bring somebody else in to help you close this. So that means you're gonna call them and say, hey, you know what? I'm glad that we're looking at homes, but I'd like to do a buyer's consultation with you to show you where your 1.6 can take you, and we'll show them the data of active homes. Then we'll show him the MLS of sold homes. And that'll show him within the last 3 months, but I like to go to 1 or 2 months, what the last home sold that he's looking at. So he knows how to compete up. If he's at 1.6, I would encourage him to look at 1.4 homes, even 1.3. It all depends on what they're looking for. But if he sees the data And if you could explain the market to them, I guarantee you, it changes the way they look at you. They're going to say, all right, she understands the market. She showed me how I need to compete up, because the same house that I want to buy at 1.6, it started at 1.4 and it went over. If they see the data, they know I only have a cushion of 150K I could go over. I only have 200K I can go over. When people can visually see that, it changes your. And we're in, and you niche, and this is really good for you to know the market, because we're in Silicon Valley. We have smart engineers. We have a lot of smart people here. We have to be just as smart. So I encourage you, we'll talk after, and we'll get someone to connect with you so you can ask for the appointment. We'll have somebody be with you and practice the buyer's consultation with you. You'll be there. It's there with you. They'll be with you, but we can do the buyer's consultation. That's easy. It's free. Just someone to help you bring that buyer in, and then have them sign the buyer's agreement. Now with cars, February 1st is that new law where you they have to sign with you to represent you. The big uproar was, well, what if they sign and they don't want to be with me for very long? You could give it for 4 weeks. We can go over that. So it's important that you go to the cars class, contract training, but you're doing it. You've gained their trust. You're showing them homes, but I would like them to sign that buyer's contract once you bring them into an appointment, so you don't lose them. And then if they decide you're not showing them value or bringing them value, they can go to another agent. So let's lock in an appointment, get them in, show them our value, show them the market, show them how skilled you are, and you continue showing. But we could do the upfront stuff to show them that. And then as you watch us, me or any other PC coaches, whoever may do it, it'll show your strength and value. Okay. And then once you see that, you'll take bits and pieces and you'll be able to start doing this on your own. How's that sound?
Okay.
Good?
Thank you very much. It sounds very good.
Okay, we'll get it done for you. After we're done with this, we'll talk, okay? But don't worry. Just ask, especially anyone that has a database and you don't know how to nurture your database, ask somebody. Hey, I have this person that's been here on my database. I know they want to buy, but I don't know how to get them over. Well, you got to find their motivation. If it's a seller, so always ask. So nurturing your database, adding every person you meet. So you should be doing 20 calls a day, everybody. If you're not doing 20 calls a day and no business is happening, it's because you're not making the contacts, or maybe you're not saying the right things. Script practice is important, and once you call somebody, like if I call a cold call right now, say, do you want to sell? They're going to hang up on me. But if I call and say, hey, I met you at my open house, it's more of an inviting feeling. When you flyer drop versus saying, hey, do you want to sell your house? Hey, this house just sold for 1.2. I'm just sharing what's happening in the market. That might be a conversation. What's working for me, I'm going to tell you what's working for me. I'm really good at circle prospecting. I will flyer drop open houses. I will let them know when they go pending. I'm picking up buyers and sellers because it's non-evasive. Hey, come on over to my Twilight. I'd love to see you there. It's for the neighborhood. We go live this weekend, but if I have you come in on Thursday, it's just for the neighborhood. We're going to have wine and cheese, or, water and drinks, whatever it may be. Just invite the neighborhood, because you're not asking for business. You're just saying, hey, come on over, check out the house. Then once they see you, hey, Tabitha, and now, I see them walking. Oh, wow, you showed up. Yeah. That brings their attention down. And that just makes them feel relaxed. That means that they know that you don't want their business. Like, you're not going to ask for it. And then you know what? They're going to ask you for business. Hey, I really like the way you showed this house, or how much would my house be worth? So you really have to practice and train and know your audience. And some people may just be mean. Say, you know what? Don't drop that flyer off. I'm never going to sell my house. And that's okay. Okay. So I want you to know that. So this isn't easy, guys. Real estate is very, very tough. But if you train, measure, make those calls, engage, you can convert. If you're not doing any of that and you're just showing up to all these trainings, but you're not making those phone calls, and you're not measuring, checking in every week, what did I do every week? And we do have KW has a KW campus college. We have a sheet of how you can measure every day, how many phone calls you make. Start measuring. You'll be surprised at what you could do. So how has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets were new? What do you feel differently about, and what was meaningful about today? How will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions will you take? What tools, model systems will you use? And how will they make you accountable, right? So you got to change the way you think. And it's okay to be afraid, because it's scary. I'm good at phones now, but I hated a phone call. I'm better in person. So find out what your talents are with your database. Some people are really good with YouTube videos and that kind of stuff, social media. I post, but I'm not really good at that type of stuff. I'm good at in person. I'm good at giving knowledge. I'm good at sharing the data. So find out what you're good at, okay? Or if you want to focus more in that area and be better educated, man, we're at Keller Williams where we have so much training and we have people that are willing to help you, okay? So, and all these slides we'll send to you after, okay? So you have them with you and you could always touch bases with us. Hey, I really like what you said, or this is where I'm struggling. That's why we're here. We're here to help you. Success system. Here we go. Daily success system. If you contact how many of your 10 conversations, how many 10 contacts added, how many handwritten notes. And handwritten notes is kind of like a timeless kind of thing. But when you do a handwritten note to somebody that you maybe met at an open house, or the neighbor that was next to that listing that you hosted, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you, Mary. That changes. Or thank you for visiting, or thank you for letting me have that conversation. People, you stand out, okay? But you should have those conversations. How many of contacts did I add? Blank of how many of 10 contacts did I add? You have to make those daily success plan, because if you go in doing nothing, you won't get anything. You got to go in with the schedule. You got to make sure you're calling. You got to make sure you're adding to the database. You make sure that you're passionate about, because you're in real estate, so you have to be passionate. Now you got to be passionate about the actions. It's not fun. It's hard. It's easy, but it's hard to be consistent. That's what I should say. It's easy, but this is hard to do every day. Some days I don't want to do it. I'd rather be doing nothing, but nothing's going to happen. Okay. So.
Hey, Tapika.
Yes.
Hi, this is Warren. I have a question on something you said like earlier, the presentation. You mentioned that during the open house, you use Real Scout or something to verify the contact informations. Now,
yes.
The thing is that I'm currently doing open house, and then when I use Spacio, so it's gonna collect all the information, which is great. Now,
I've used that too. That's a good one.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, so you are using two different apps at the same time to do that, or it's like, how do you utilize that to validate the information?
So on Real Scout, if it's not a right email, it shows up. It'll show up on Real Scout software, and then in there in the Real Scout, so it's a software that you provide. Are you an individual agent, or are you with a team?
Not with the team. I'm working under my sister-in-law's.
Okay.
Me and her together. Yes.
Okay, so if you have software that you're using, any software that you have, and it's Spacio, I've used that as well. Any software that you have, when they check in and they put their information, it should be able to tell you if it's a valid email, because our technology is so advanced now. It could tell you if it's a valid email. Otherwise, I'll look at it and they'll say it's not valid email. I'll say, hey, I think you put it in incorrectly. It could be just an accident, or it could be intentional, so we don't get connection with them. Then after, you pull that data into a spreadsheet, and it could be sourced. It goes to their LinkedIn. It'll pull up all their profiles. Command is a great software, and you could pick up all the what are their other, because once that email comes up, it'll bring in their LinkedIn. If they have other accounts, you could see all that. So I hope I answered the question correctly. It does show on Real Scout, it'll show me if it's a valid email or not.
Okay, so my two questions then. So you are using both the Spacio and the Real Scout at the same time when you're asking for the contact information?
No, just one. I've used Spacio, but we use Real Scout.
Okay, so
yeah.
And kind of go back to the Spacio. So I'm looking at it right now. I know that how I set up the Spacio to send out the hey, thank you for visiting email an hour or 2 hours after they come to the open house.
Good job.
Yeah, and I have one person that actually responded to that email, which is great, which I'm going to reach out. But the thing is that in the Spacio, you said the verify is not verified, but even though that person responded using the email. So that's kind of thing I'm finding a little difficult to trust which one's validated or not, even in Spacio.
Yeah, and then you could always check that, like when you look at them. So that's one of the big things that we tend to do when we're at open house. We we're so busy and excited, right, that we don't verify their email. We're hoping that the system will help us. So I would call Spacio and verify, hey, because if you're paying for it, ask them, hey, does this validate their email? Ask that question, because I'm not an IT person, but I know with my software that we use, it validates who they are. And then when we put them in the system, okay. But that's a good thing. So once you've done that 2 hours, you've sent them that email. Now, what's going to be your next conversation? Do you know what your next value proposition is going to be to them? What are you going to do next when you call them?
Well, calling just to set up, because a lot of these people I'm first calling is the one have no agent. So I'll be calling them, say, hey, like to set up with a consultation, kind of set your focus to the price range and then the specific of you want of the house. So that's gonna make me after this meeting, but that's kind of thing is my thing is that's my next step basically, and then hopefully follow up for the next several weeks and things like that.
Correct. Put them in your database. And if they say, hey, I'm not, but I know you're not, maybe don't want to be committed to you, but you know what? Information's key. I know that maybe you don't, but and this is what I would like you to say to them. Maybe you don't want to work with me, but I get it. And you still want to look around, but it's really important that you understand the market and where you're competing. That way I can guide you. And I'm an expert in real estate, helping buyers. I'd love to help you, show you the market, where your money can take you, because that's a mistake that most buyers do, especially if they don't have an agent. They're just wandering around hoping. When you bring value and bring them in for an appointment and show them where their loan amount can take them. And remember, you have to have a cushion to compete up, because you're going to run your comparables on the sold. So you got to compete up 150K, 50K. You need to know for that particular client, and then show them the data. That just makes you look strong. And they're like, okay, maybe I can't afford it right now, or maybe this isn't the area I really want to be in Cupertino, but I have to move to Milpitas, or I have to move further. It's a migration pattern, because we become priced out. We do have a migration pattern that if we can't afford a certain area, we have to go further out, if you guys have noticed. And even though we don't want to have to tell the hard truth, that's what we have to do with our database. We have to tell that client, hey, I know you'd like to live at that $2 million home, but you know what? The budget says we have to go this way, but by showing them the data, it makes them understand without you saying, hey, you can't buy that house. The data is going to tell them what they're doing. So good luck on that. And if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to your broker or your sister or whoever. Make sure that they prepare you, but good luck. And that's a great conversion right there. One off of the emails that you sent. Good job.
Thank you very much. I do have another question you suggested earlier. Obviously, you know along the conversation, you ask them how much they qualify for, if they tell you, and you suggested, you're looking, you try to aim for about the example you gave is like 100 or 200K lower in the price. Is obviously in the Bay Area. Is that that approach? Is like what is a good range to go with in terms of, because obviously, when it comes to bidding in any houses, those are the uncertainty, and that's kind of things like, what is your approach on how much to go lower for that search?
It depends on the client, because the client's going to tell me. So I'll give you an example. I met somebody at my open house last weekend. Mind you, he had an agent. He wasn't happy with his agent. When I called him to let him know the pending price of our 96 solar, I said, hi, Karan. Glad I met you. I want to let you know the house sold for 1,522, and it did. We listed at 1.45. We sold at 1,522, and he goes, "Oh wow, it sold for 1,522." And I said, "Yes." And I said, I said, "How long you been looking?" He goes, "Oh, 4 months." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Well, what's your loan amount?" He goes, 1.5. I go, "Okay." And he goes, "Do you think I can increase my loan amount?" And I said, "Yes." I go, "But are you working with your agent?" He goes, "I'm not committed to my agent." Okay, well, I can get you set up. So that day, and we had more conversation. Okay, so what are you looking for? Well, I want to go up higher than my 1.5. I need to stay in Milpitas. Milpitas is very competitive. When we had our open house, it was only 9 houses on the market. With ours made the 10th. So I know the market. So when you're asking the question, you need to know somebody's budget. Then you have to run the comparables. And you have to see what that last home sold for. So you could show them, hey, this house sold for 152 or 1.7 based off of over 1.4. If it's a good neighborhood, it's going to go still higher. But pretty much if it's an average neighborhood, list price is going to be closer to sale price. It's not going to be a big gap, but still low inventory. Now with everything's happening, you got to know the market. So I would encourage you to study the data. What's the last home sold? What's their loan amount? and you give that cushion, because you're going to see this house was 1.4, but it sold for 1.6. All right, that's sold like in February. Do you think, would you have extra cushion to go higher? Otherwise, we may have to, you can still try, but that means probably a non-contingent offer. Your terms have to be really good. So do you know what terms are, right? Your terms? Terms are.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you want to make sure you write a strong offer. So it may not always be the money, but you should know the data. So you need to show that client what that home sold for and their budget. This is what your 1.6 can get you, maximum. So in order to compete up, we have to start at this price point to compete up. And you need to be the expert in that zip code or area, okay? And you have to be very honest and transparent. But if you have data, it's irrefutable, because they can't say, hey, you know what? He doesn't want me to buy there. No, the data's telling you you're going to be outbid. And so if they see that, that makes more sense. Okay, do I want to move to that neighborhood, Morgan Hill versus staying in Milpitas? There's things that they have to talk to as a family, and that just shows value. Okay, remember that. You need to be the expert, so you need to know the data. You're not guessing. And if they're serious buyers, they're going to tell you what their loan amount is. If they're saying I don't want to tell you, then they don't want to work with you, or they're not pre-approved. But anyone that is approved, they're going to tell you what their maximum is, and then lock the appointment, show them the data. Hey, this is, I always have a buyer or seller's consultation. Come in, let's look at let's see what your loan is. Let me see where we can go. Let's see where that loan can take you. And we give them good options, okay? So you're in charge, you control it, you control that buyer, but you're the expert, and they're looking for you for that expert advice. You got it? And if you have questions, you could always call me after, or I know you're with the team, but if you have questions, I can tell you what to do. It's easy. It sounds so complicated, but we have all the systems and able to do that. Okay. And then remember, when you're calling, so if you have any questions, I hope I was helpful. But it's an easy question. If you know that their maximum, look at the comparables, and then you can see how much that home went over. That way you have the number and their budget, and you have to align them together, okay? Because sometimes people just have a crazy price point and they can't afford where they want to live, okay? Remember, warning the do not call list. When we get a list from either title or buying numbers, if it says do not call, do not call. You could be sued. Keller Williams could be sued. So you could be yelled at, you name it. It could be ugly. If you see DNC, do not call, okay? So that's important for all of us. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. See, guys, just be you. Don't be so stuffy and so aggressive. Just be you. Be whoever you are, but be knowledgeable. Be kind, and say, you know what? When they come in, I laugh with my people at the open house, and we talk, we laugh, and we don't even talk about real estate, So what you think about the house, just sign in. Then I'll check in. If they want to talk about the house, we talk about it. But you're going to know how to gauge every person that walks in. You're going to know how to communicate with them. You could tell somebody don't want to talk with you. That's okay. I just had that too. People walked in. No, I don't want to talk to you. Okay. But he signed in. I got his name and number, and I called him, let him know I'm pending. I don't want to write on it. And he hung up. Okay. So remember that. Just engage everybody with conversation, with contribution, and if they like you and you bring value when you're just being you, they could feel that, You got to remember, you got to role play 20 minutes. If they're not doing it at your office, you can pick up an accountability partner and just practice. You can even get on the phone with somebody. Hey, I'm going to be calling today for expired homes. Let's practice on calling expired homes for sale by owners. Just every day you need a role play, because that's going to make you better. Even if you're going to do an open house, let's practice the open house. Have somebody walk in and pretend that they're the client. Hey, welcome. I'm Tabitha. I'm with the open house. Here's some information on the property. Please sign in and let me know if you have any questions. Practice, practice, practice. Because after a while, it just becomes fun. It becomes so natural that it's like, yeah, I made some good people today. He wasn't ready to buy, but you can pretty much gauge. Okay, so role play is important, guys. It's uncomfortable because I don't like role playing when I first started, but now it's fun, because it makes me confident, it makes me stronger, and it makes me look better in the other person's eyes. Now, remember, prepare your conversation list, whoever you're calling. Every day I have a database. I know who I'm calling every day. Mind you, I might have a listing appointment or a buyer that I'm preparing for. That takes precedence, but you know every day who you're connecting with, you know? You should know when you're going to touch that person. Or, hey, you know, just a check-in. Hi, you know, hi Marisol. You know, we haven't talked in a while. I hope the house I helped you buy is, you know, you're doing well. And, you know, you'll be surprised. I called somebody from 4 years ago just to say hi. I came back from family reunion all stoked and excited. And I still have a stack of people I have to put in command. I called this one person. Her name's Wendy. I said, hey, Wendy, just want to say hi and just want to tell you I was thinking of you. She's an all cash buyer. Go to your database, call anybody and just do a check-in. It doesn't have to be about real estate. Hey, how are you doing today? Just want to say hi. Yeah, the market's kind of crazy right now, but I just want you to know I was just thinking of you. And if you need anything in the future, just give me a call. Hang up. See how many of those you can do. Okay. Call your spear. Tell your dentist. Tell Home Depot. Wherever you are, you know. So make sure that whatever your list is, you know who you want to contact. But I promise you, if you start today doing 10, you can increase to 20. But once you call those 10, see how many appointments you can get, then we can start measuring. Okay. So I called 50 people this week and I got 4 appointments. Woo, that's a victory right there, guys. Okay. And it's easy. And maybe they won't be ready, but if you can get them in as a pre-approval, got it? All right. Lead generation conversations. You know, when you're on the phone, you can have those lead conversations. How long are you going to be calling? When this is part of your time blocking as well. You have to have a schedule. You have to know how long you're going to be calling. That 20-80% is a big deal. You know, if you commit to doing that beginning part and the strategy for lead gen, your database is going to grow, your conversion rate's going to go, and it becomes fun. And no matter what, you're not going to divert from it unless you're doing money making activities, which is a buyer or a listing. But you really want to try to stay true to your schedule, okay? Because any top producer does that, okay? Update contacts in your update and follow. You know, you should be doing that again with your calendar. You know, once you come in from your open house on the weekend, you're putting them in your database. Then, just as the gentleman said earlier, he's going to call and connect with them. He said a thank you. Now he's going to call back and say, hey, can I make an appointment? Or, hey, the offer due date is Thursday. You know, follow up with them. You know, and if they want to talk to you, they will. If they had a good connection with you, if they don't, then that's okay. But just check in, update, follow up, and celebrate your successes. Okay. Remember, real estate is tough. Most of the time, people don't want our services. They don't think very highly of us. Even my own husband says, I always thought realtors were like car salesmen. Well, that didn't make me feel good. But be different, stand out. At Keller Williams, our culture is so different. We're not like other brands. We care. You know, the owner of our company cares. My leads care. How can I not reflect that? You know, we have a different culture here. So remember, celebrate success. Even if you just made the 20 calls, but you didn't get an appointment, the point is you made the calls. Do it again the next day. Do it again the next day. Do open houses, okay? Because we are all here in the same position. We all started at some point, and through persistence and passion with activities, sky's the limit, okay? So daily success system, you know, out of how many of the 10 conversions, your contacts added, handwritten notes, we'll send you all these slides so you can really look at them. And what am I not doing, you know, or what I am doing, and I'm on the right track, okay? Use command and connect to get the help. And in command, add your database, you know, create a task, you know, put the label, put the tabs on them, you know, if it's from a zip code or from an open house, you know, categorize them so you can cluster and send those emails to that particular those people that were at that open house. Hey, we have another listing, or this home sold for this number, you know, have a reason for contacting people. And then connect. On Connect, we have videos, training. You know, we have a lot of great things that are paid for by Keller Williams, and we own this software. We don't have to pay for anything. This is stuff that we own that's available to us that makes us better agents, okay? So let's train. A tech-enabled agent will outbeat any other agent, because the mom and pop stuff, the brokerages that don't have a lot of fees, they're becoming obsolete. us at Keller Williams, we're the #1 real estate company franchise, and we also are growing. When others are bailing out, we're growing. Remember that. So that talks about our leadership, Gary Keller, and all this software that we have here. Okay, so use it, and if you don't know how, talk to your branch office, your MCA. Tell them, hey, I need some training. This is where I need help. I think I'm almost done, guys. You guys have any questions? Anybody?
Yes. I have a question. So I'm just kind of like wanting to know what would be a good what would be good to include in a follow-up email of clients you met at an open house.
It depends on the person, but it would just be like, hi, Mr. and Mrs. or hi, Mary. I met you at this at my 921 open house, and it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for taking the time. I know at the moment, if you remember things, and it's important, people, my people, you guys are my people. If you can remember something about that person that comes in, mind you, when you don't have a lot of open houses, and any person, that's how bad I struggled. I knew almost everything about every person that came in. I put a little note. So when I put them in command in my notes, I'll put, hey, this person isn't ready to buy now. So if you know anything about that person, maybe touch on that. Hey, it was a pleasure to meet you. If you have any questions in the future regarding real estate, I'd love to, be a source for you. Information's free. Thank you for bringing your family in and your daughter, whatever it may be. Just something very simple, but just thank you for coming. If you have any questions, if you know anything about them, maybe they were first-time home buyers, they weren't pre-approved. If you can remember, but it's just saying, thank you for showing up. I'm always here. I'm a real estate expert. Brag about KW. Hey, we are the #1 company. We're still growing in this crazy market when people are leaving. How can I help you? That's it. Keep it simple.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you have any questions, you can always call me and we could go over it together. But it's really simple. I think we overthink it, right? But just be you. Thank you for coming. It was awesome meeting you. I had a great conversation with you. If I can help you in the future, I would love to. I'm data driven. Let them know you're data driven. We need to start studying the data, everyone. I want you to encourage you that we look at the market, we look at the houses, but we have MLS, we have all the software where you could do stats. Know your list to sale price ratio. I know that I sell my houses over 8% list to sale price ratio. You should be able to say that to your database, to your clients, because it makes you look like a stronger agent. You need to know your numbers, how I convert. I need to know the data. I can read the market. We don't have to be the smartest, but if we can run reports off of an MLS and show that to them, that makes you look really, really, really strong. Okay.
Hello, Tabitha. This is Neela Patel here.
Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to find out, would it be possible for you to send or put your contact information in the chat, please?
Abigail, can you do that for me? So we can send that for you. And I'm at the Silicon City office, but I will start doing some coaching, some just open classes on database if you guys would like, and showing you how to nurture your database if you'd like to do that. So since I failed miserably, my friends, I'm really good at this, circle prospecting and nurturing my database, because I was so broke. I had no money. The only way I could get business was by talking to people. And then as I became friends or just having conversations, just really relaxed conversations, I learned I could change my business. And that's really what I do now. I don't have to cold call strangers. It's all my database. I still do my farm, but my farm knows me. My farm is like where I live, my zip code. I have like 300, 700, whatever your zip code is. People know me that I'm the local realtor now, so don't be a secret agent. So there's a lot of good stuff to help you and nurture your database, cultivate your database, convert your database. So every day should be some touches. And I hope I brought some value. I hope you learned a few things, or I got a aha moment. But I'm really passionate, and sometimes I can't exhume my excitement because it's an honor to even be able to speak with all of you. I am a productivity coach now because I failed miserably and I worked really hard to train. And someone gave me the opportunity that mentored me, that didn't charge me nothing. So when I started Keller Williams right before the pandemic, and I came back as a solo agent, I was helping agents close deals or helping them. That's how the position came, being a productivity coach, is because I'm passionate. I want to help people win. Your success is my success. We all win together. And at Keller Williams, that's really our mantra. We don't let anybody fail, unless the only way you're going to fail is if you're not asking for the help. Remember that. And if you're not closing deals, what are you not doing? It's either motivation or knowledge. We have everything here. So don't be afraid to ping me or Hilda or Harvey or Eric. Hey, I'm struggling, because we don't want to see that. But it's okay for you to say, I don't think I'm getting what I need, or I'm not knowledgeable in here, because we don't know what you don't know. Okay, guys? Call me anytime. I love sharing information. And thank you for allowing me to do this, okay? I was super nervous. I was up at 5 a.m. preparing for all of you.
Thank you so much, Tibet. That was really informational and motivational too.
Ah, I love that. Good. That's good to know. Well, I'm going to be doing another one on Friday, how to win the seller. So join me on Friday, guys, okay? I'd love to
Sure.
see you again.
Thank you so much, Tabitha.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
you're
you.
Thank you, Tabitha.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you, Abigail.
Thank you so much. See you on Friday. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.